I'm going to tell you something. Something that a lot of people don't want to recognize. Something that political parties do not want you to recognize. And it is this: we don't live in a democracy. Democracy is dead as we know it. Because here's the truth: democracy does not mean politicians. Democracy does not even entail our current structures. And dare I even say it, democracy does not simply exist because you have the right to vote. Democracy exists because of you. And this is why I want to admit something even further. I am afraid. And I'm afraid. And you know what? I am damn tired of pretending that I am not afraid. Because here's the truth. Last night, for, I don't know, it probably was a negative decision, but at 2 a.m. I could not sleep. And so I went through the newly unredacted Epstein files. And let me tell you, it is the worst that humanity has to offer. And you know one thing? You want to know something? Here's the truth. I know how many people Epstein killed. You know how many people? The number is this: we will never know. That's how bad it is. We will never know because the system goes so deep that some people are not even going to be held accountable. And that's wrong. And you know what? These people, these terrible, these disgusting, these vile, these pedophilic elites, I hope that they burn in the boiler room of hell. I truly do. And even then, it would not be enough. That's the truth. And so why am I talking to you about the Epstein files and democracy? Because the reason why we are seeing this is because democracy has been dead. Because here's the truth. A lot of people will tell you that, oh, Jeffrey Epstein was the failure of our system. No. If a person tells you that, they've understood nothing. Jeffrey Epstein was not the failure of our system, but he was the only logical byproduct of a system that produced corruption inherently. And so I want to name a villain: neoliberalism. Because a lot of people, when they look at Trump, and I've seen this mistake, they only look at the political issues. And you know what democracy means? Democracy means political equality, but much deeper than that. Politics is a mixture of the social world, the political world, the personal world, the private world, but more importantly, the economic world. And Epstein is here because of a lack of democracy. So hear me out. Democracy can only exist with participation. Democracy doesn't simply exist that you have the right to vote. When I tell you this, for example, if I told you you had the right to vote and I never counted your vote, would it really be democracy? No. Because it would not be a system that recognizes your participation. And this is what we are seeing in America. And here's a fact. And you can look this up. I did a previous video on the Electoral College. And in the recent years, in recent presidential elections, up to 80% of all votes in America had nearly no impact. Democracy! Woohoo! No, because it's not democracy. It really fucking isn't. You know what it is? It's neoliberalism. And do you want to know what neoliberalism is? Because if you're watching this, hopefully you've heard it 1 or 2 times, but neoliberalism is when the government exists to bail out corporations. It's when the government says, free market, laissez-faire system, and yet the corporations are the one that take control of the government. And this is not an issue about left and right, because let's be frank. Let's be frank for a minute here. Both an Obama and a Trump operated on the same economic philosophy, neoliberalism. For example, when an Obama bailed out all the banks during the 2008 market crisis, that was neoliberalism. That was. What they do have, though, is different social philosophies. That's really the big difference between Republican and Democrat. And a lot of people that I've heard will say that, oh no, now the Republicans aren't neoliberal. And that's propaganda. They still are. What we are seeing now is only a logical conclusion to the neoliberal system that we've seen before. And you know what the truth is about neoliberalism? Neoliberalism says that democracy should not exist because democracy is dangerous. And that is wrong. That is why we've seen an Epstein, because an Epstein was not held accountable. If we, the people, were able to participate, I'm pretty sure an Epstein would have been held fucking accountable. I don't know if it's just me, but if I were in charge in the government, there would have been drastic measures from an Epstein since the very beginning, since even before the beginning. This would never have happened. And the reason why an Epstein was unaccountable, and let's face it, he even spent Thanksgivings with Trump at one point. The reason why this happened is because the people were not allowed to get their word in. But more importantly than that, when you collapse democracy and you reduce society to just people living in a group together, then the social dialogue of talking about our common needs disappears. And so the government does not exist to respond to your needs. It exists to respond to the wants of a corporation, of an elite, of the banks, of some Zionists. And yeah, it's pretty fucking disgusting. And I'm tired of pretending that it's not. And so you know what? I am afraid. I am. And I'm tired of pretending that I'm not. Because you know what? To be afraid, you need to acknowledge that you are afraid. But here's the thing. When a person acknowledges that they are afraid, they are forced to act. And a lot of people will say, oh, I can't act in this system, so I'm not even going to read up on the Epstein files. No, have you understood nothing about democracy? Democracy exists because of your civic participation. How do you contribute in a democracy? You talk about it. And I'm definitely not saying that you have to agree with everything, because I will never, ever, ever agree with a system that produces a fucking Jeffrey Epstein. And you can quote me on that. I'd rather be hanged than agree with a system where this whole clusterfuck, this disgusting, vile fucking clusterfuck, even appears. Because it's fucking disgusting. It really fucking is. And you know what? That's why I'm afraid. Because a lot of people, and I know it's not you because you're watching this video. I know it. Don't worry. But a lot of people, some people that I've talked, put their heads in the ground like a fucking ostrich, and they say, I am never going to look at the political world because it's so much bigger than me. No, it's not bigger than you. It's bigger than all of us. But it can only be vanquished if all of us have the strength to fight it. Because here's another thing. We're all in this together, whether we like it or not. We are all in this together. Unless you are an astronaut or you've been sucked in a wormhole, you live on this earth. And I'm pretty sure most of us live on this earth. And I'm pretty sure that most people aren't astronauts. But here's the thing. Why did we arrive here? Because it's not just political. It's economic. It's social. It's personal. It's private. It is the entire system in itself which produces this when our system does not answer the people. So this is the better message here. It's not a political party who's going to save us. I don't have any confidence that the Democratic Party is going to save us. None. Zero. Zilch. But you know who I do have confidence in? Because as much as I am afraid, I am full of hope. I'm full of hope in the people who are getting their blood boiling and who are saying fucking enough with this. Who are saying, let's fucking move on from this corruption. And I'm sorry if this sounds like an angry rant. But you know what? Sometimes angry rants are necessary when you see horrors like what is happening in the Epstein files. It's necessary to be pissed. Because if you're not pissed, there might be something wrong with you. And if you're not pissed, I'm wondering why you're not. Because here's the truth. Democracy doesn't demand that you go vote. It's much more than a vote. It's action. And we're going to have to take action against some people, against most people in our system who've let a Jeffrey fucking Epstein happen. We are going to have to act. They are going to need to be held accountable. And they can only be held accountable, not even fully by our representatives, who, let's face it, a lot of them were probably in on it. They can only be held accountable by us. So the bigger message here is, why did Jeffrey Epstein even occur? Because of a lack of democracy, because of a lack of accountability, because of a system that doesn't look at you, but a system that only looks at the political equality of an elite. And so, here's this final message. We're going to need to make some changes, people, because we can't go back to the past. We really can't. And so, if this video got your blood boiling, like and subscribe, but don't just subscribe to join a YouTube channel. Subscribe to join a community. Subscribe to join a community of people who are pissed off and who demand action against this entire system. Don't just join a YouTube channel or a community. Join a conversation. Thank you very much.